Yoga can be thought of as a path towards inner peace, but I would argue that it's more so the life philosophies beyond the physical poses that truly propel us towards this inner peace. In this video, you'll learn all about the yogi self-care and self-discipline practices that were prescribed to us 2,000 years ago by the sage Patanjali. I'm talking about the second limb of yoga, the Niyamas. Although I've been practicing yoga for around 6 years now, it wasn't until I learned and committed myself to these teachings that my personal practice truly began to grow and deepen. This is the third video of a series I'm doing on yoga philosophy for beginners. So go ahead and make sure you've seen the previous videos. I'm going to put links right up here for you guys. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss out on the rest of the series. So in the last video, we talked about the first limb of yoga, the yamas, and how they are essentially guidelines for how the yogi interacts with the world around them. Today, we're moving on to the second limb of yoga, the niyamas, which are essentially guidelines for yogi self-care. There are 5 niyamas, and instead of thinking about them like dogmatic rules you have to follow, you should really think about them more as suggestions for your own good. If you're wanting to progress along the yogic path, you should be grateful for these pro tips from Patanjali. The first niyama is called SAUCHA and has to do with cleanliness and purification. On a basic level, this means that we should honor the practice of yoga and that we show up freshly groomed, put together, and we're being mindful of others that may be practicing around us. For example, if you are dousing yourself in perfume or essential oils, this could be offensive or distracting to others practicing around you, and someone could even be allergic to that particular essential oil. We also want to keep our practice space tidy and distraction-free, and if you're practicing at a studio, it's only polite to clean up after yourself. But practicing SAUCHA means more than just not being stinky. As yogis, we want to eliminate distractions and anything that could be preventing us from being our best selves. The practices of asana, pranayama, and meditation are meant to be a part of SAUCHA in that they help us to purify our minds and bodies. So consider the ways in which you care for your physical, mental, and spiritual self, and that is practicing SAUCHA. The second niyama is SANTOSHA, which is translated as contentment. SANTOSHA is all about accepting things the way that they are and choosing to be happy. It's absolutely okay to want things in life, but we should try to avoid the attachment to our wanting of these things. Don't ride the roller coaster of I'll be happy when, fill in the blank, and instead choose to take control of your own happiness and being content with all that you already have. The third niyama is tapas, or self-discipline. This one is super close to my heart because it honestly took me a long time to learn. I used to think that just because I liked yoga, that my practice would just naturally deepen over the years, and that's not really the case. If you truly want to excel at something, you can't just do it when you feel like it. You have to develop the self-discipline to practice even when you aren't in the mood. When you start applying tapas to your practice, or really anything in life, just wait and see how much faster you advance. Learning self-discipline is truly, truly life-changing. Okay, so we only have 2 more niyamas left, and at this point, I just want to pause and ask you guys what your thoughts are on tapas or self-discipline. If this is already an integrated part of your practice and your life, or if this is kind of a aha light bulb moment and you're like, oh shit, I need to develop some self-discipline here. So just let me know in the comments below and let's jump right back in. The fourth niyama is called SVADHYAYA and is literally translated as to recollect the self. In other words, SVADHYAYA is self-study. This is another one that I am personally very passionate about because of its impact on my life. I used to be a pretty negative and insecure person, but at some point throughout my yoga journey, I realized I am not my thoughts. It's so important to practice SVADHYAYA for the simple reason that our thoughts aren't always truthful or in alignment with our true, authentic selves. Practices such as meditation, where we are consciously observing our thought and behavioral patterns, are how we can truly begin to understand who we are at our core and how we can show up better for ourselves and others. Finally, the last niyama is ISHVARA PRANIDHANA, which means to surrender to the divine, to surrender to God. This one can be a little bit more challenging to grasp on a practical level, especially when you don't come from a religious background, but essentially it has to do with giving ourselves to a higher purpose. Yoga in no way forces the idea of a God or religion, but it definitely suggests that there is something bigger than ourselves. For me, the teaching of ISHVARA PRANIDHANA is that there is divinity and purpose in this life. Everything is connected, and once you realize how sacred this whole crazy life experience is, the only thing you really can do is surrender. So those are the 5 niyamas. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comment section below and I will most definitely respond. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And please hit that subscribe button because that is what hypes me up to keep creating content like this. Thank you for watching. Namaste, light beings.